Hello. I'm about to do some ratting with an alt of mine.
Yay!
Let me go ahead and make sure I'm looking at the right Eve screen here. There we go. Okay, so this is a hell, fairly common ratting supercarrier. So there's a couple of things to note about this one. It's got a fairly basic ratting fit, a whole bunch of fighter support units. They help your fighters rep up more quickly, and they help them go faster, do a whole bunch of other things. Let's actually take a look. Rate of fire, velocity, and improved shields as well. So there are better versions of that, but yeah, that's quite a bit. Just gonna get right into it. You'll also see that there's a whole bunch of damage mods at the bottom. The faster you kill stuff, the faster you can move on to the next thing you want to kill. So you'll see how quickly this thing melts baddies. It's pretty dramatic. But limited tank. Hopefully I don't get caught, because that would be bad. The inertial stabilizers at the bottom help me move out more quickly, which is very handy. Hopefully you guys can hear not just the Eve sounds, but can hear the music in the background. Music level, actually. Okay. So first thing I do is line back to someplace safe. Fire up the network sensor array. Helps you lock the small stuff more quickly. And then you can send your baddies off to go kill stuff. So yeah, that was a battleship that was one-shotted. So these guys here are my my heavy fighters. Those are long-range fighter bombers. So you'll see that they absolutely melt battleships. Those three of them in one shot will take out a battleship. These two are light fighters, so they tend to work pretty well on smaller stuff. They track fairly well. They track even better with the two omnidirectionals that I have down here. Yeah, it's tough to keep track of these things when they melt so quickly. Kaboosh, there goes that one. Okay, reactivate the NSA. If the audio is too loud or too soft or too anything, feel free to let me know in chat so I can go ahead and fix it for you. Another one bites the dust. Yeah, these things just melt. So it takes approximately 5 minutes to go through a sanctum this way. Maybe a little bit less than that. Depends on which sanctum you get. There are a couple of different types. Yeah, these things melt so quickly that there's almost no point in trying to track them. Just die. Okay, last one for this round. Okay, reactivate the MSA. So these are my light fighters. Next up. So one thing about how I set my ships up is my F1, when I'm using the long-range fighters, is all three of these fighters. So you see how they've got the sort of glow around them? That means they're selected. So when you hit a hotkey, F1, F2, or F3 for the highs, it's going to go to those guys by default. That's why you see all three of them activated at the same time. Okay, well, that's one down. Let me find where my best alignment is for the next one. Sanctum, nope. Sanctum, nope. Sanctum. Okay. So you'll see I didn't recall my fighters. That's very intentional. If you recall your fighters and then they don't get to you in time, then they end up sort of in a limbo state, and they either land at many thousands of kilometers away from you, which makes it very difficult to retrieve them, or they remain behind or somewhere mid-space. Okay, so I just recalled them. So again, line off. Activate the NSA. Now, these things sometimes get a little bit wonky here. Okay, so I just activated those. Go. Okay, so sometimes, and I'm sure you'll see this as I go, sometimes those fighters, when they arrive midstream, don't listen to your commands. and so they end up actually coming back to your bay. So I use the hotkey to return to the bay, but sometimes that doesn't work out too well. So you either have to be quick on the draw or return in orbit. I'm killing off the dire Pithams. Those can actually jam me in this super, even though technically I've got a whole bunch of sensor strength. Like without the NSA active, what am I looking at? Without the NSA active, my sensor strength is, where's that? Sensor strength, 146 points. So you'll see when I reactivate the NSA, that's quite a bit different with it active. So you can see that one of the things it does is increase your scan resolution bonus, but also boosts your sensor strength by 50%. So that means you're supposed to be more difficult to jam, but you'll see what I mean here shortly. Okay, so new baddies showed up, network sensor array active. Sensor strength, 219 points. So even with 219 points of sensor strength, those things can actually jam me. It's luck-based, chance-based, so not too surprising. But man, is that annoying. One of the big ideas behind ratting in a super is you want to maximize your ticks, right? The size of the amount of money you receive every 20 minutes when you're actively doing stuff like this. And when you're jammed, that takes away a portion of your tick, a fairly significant portion. So it is something to be avoided. So I'm just going through, and you can see this is just pure rapage. I can one-shot the battleships with the long-range bombers, and I stick the light-range bombers on the lighter things. With the tracking setup that I have here, I get the best of range as well as tracking. Reactivate the NSA. That time I staggered my long-range fighter bombers, and I shouldn't have. Boom. Spawned over here. So these cloud sanctums are not the favored types. Rats spawn sort of spread out, and your fighters need to take some time to get to them. Obviously with the long-range fighters, it's not quite so bad because they have quite a bit more range. But it's still significant. For the light fighters, at least. Also, I want to point out the quantity of smaller stuff, destroyers and such. Those things will pretty handily murder your your fighters. So you have to be careful with those. See how I had to activate my MWDs? Yeah, they spawned all the way over there. Okay, so I'm just going to stagger off my long range. That just helps clear them out. A single long range bomber with the tracking setup I have will succumb to, or will pew off a destroyer handily. It takes a little while to chop through a battleship, but it's still not slow. Okay, here's some more of the dire guys, whom I do not like. Yeah, see how far away they are? Can't even activate my short-range fighter guns on them yet. Okay, now I can. And for what it's worth, this isn't without risk. There are certainly ways to catch me and kill me right now. Obviously, I would prefer that not happen, but it could. There's a wormhole close by where baddies could fit capitals through, dreadnoughts or carriers, and I would not like to receive that visit. Okay, where am I? Next. That's quite a ways off. Okay, take this one. So it's not a good angle, but that's fine. I can deal with it. So again, I'm not retrieving my fighters yet. No, I don't want those guys. Actually, what is the shortcut for turn in orbit? Shift Alt R. Okay, well, let's try that. Okay, come back, my friends. Interesting. They did not start to return. Okay. Angle off. Okay, so I'm realigning back to my tower. Wasabi.
What's up, Taco? How you doing?
Just streaming some super ratting. Got a grand total of 1 viewer right now.
You're streaming super rating.
Yeah. Doesn't sound wise, right?
No.
That's
Yeah, sanctums, are you?
yeah, just running sanctums in our system here.
Right, I'm not gonna make post of. It's just the two of us that's writing, and I'm just gonna stick to havens. Yeah.
Up to you, man. There's plenty of sanctums.
Hey, no, it's fine. I'll go havens. Havens seem to give more loot,
That's definitely true. Yep.
and I want the loot.
Them escalations, though.
They also drop very frequently from the havens rather than sanctums.
But the havens drop you in 9 of 10s, right?
No, 10 of 10s too. Havens and sanctums 10 of 10.
Huh. Okay. I learned something new. Apparently.
The 10 of 10s are easier for super because it's no frigates, right? That's the reason why people run it.
So, Courtmate jumped on, chatting with him on comms as well. he's gonna go do some stuff. We're trying to coordinate in such a way that we don't step on each other's toes. Those dyers, man, they gotta die. Okay, well that's my first tick. Not awesome because I'm not doing it super optimized right now. That was about a 60 million tick. When my alignment is all right, when everything else is good, everything lines up, 100 something million per tick. Next spawn. I can barely even look at them before they die. That's the way, I like it. So obviously, if you're not familiar with ratting in capitals, and you have any questions, feel free to go ahead and ask in chat. I am monitoring it. I'm not cool enough to have moderators and that sort of thing, so it's just little old me. Next. So this type of sanctum is much more desirable because all the rats tend to spawn fairly close together. Not as close as a rock sanctum. Sorry, a rock haven. Rock haven is not something I'm going to be doing tonight, but with those, all the rats spawn within what amounts to a little cage, and so all the rats are super close by. And there's even people that will kill those off with a Titan. They come in and they bow sonic the spawn. It's pretty comical. It's effective though. I mean, they can plow through that in a few, like minute and a half. One of these days I'll probably do that. And that's that one. Next. Good enough.
I'm watching a taco.
Creeper.
Ah.
If you have any suggestions or thoughts or anything like that, ways I can do it better, then I'm all ears. That goes for the stream side as well as the ratting, all the rest of that side. Really, I do this for fun. I've got enough money to kind of do whatever I want. Just something different to do,
Donations.
Okay, I just recalled my fighters, realign. I'm gonna say active.
You see how you were landing 3 seconds ago?
Yep.
You see how your ship was landing 3 seconds ago?
Yep. Yes, I do.
What you should do before you land, just as you're warping slow, you recall your fighters.
Yep, that's what I did.
Did you? I can't see you on Twitch.
Yeah, I did that, but trying to just recall an orbit doesn't seem to work too well for me. They always end up doing something else. Like they've got their own agenda.
Yeah, right. How come you why don't you go PvPing if you got lots of ISK?
I do. My main is Gurn. I'm in Burning Napalm in NC.
Do you touch your PvP?
I do sometimes. It's kind of dependent upon what the FC wants, right? Sometimes they don't want streams.
Okay, you might want to watch your streaming.
In what way?
There you go, hostiles.
Yeah, I've got eyes next door, and I'm paying attention to Intel chat as well.
That's all right.
Does the return in orbit shortcut work for you very well?
I don't do that. I just recall, and before they even land into my drone bay, I already put them on the hostile target.
Yeah, so if you can see my screen, you can see that I've got my long-range fighters that are all in a squad. Sometimes they don't respond or behave as a squad. I'll tell them to go attack something on landing, and then they go off and do something completely different, or they just they land in the fighter bay after all. So that's kind of frustrating.
I individually click them. I put the drones as high as possible, like you have. I have my bombers, the 3 squad of the bombers in the first 3 tubes, and then the dragonflies in the last 2 tubes.
So we've got it kind of opposite then. I've got the light fighters in the first 2, and the heavies in the last 2, or last 3.
Yeah, I find that easier because you always lock the battleships faster than the cruisers, right?
Yep.
So the bombers, fighter bombers, already ready to launch.
Kill. Yeah, I find using the F1 for the long-range squad works out best because they all activate at the same time, and so you have the same cycle for them, right? And then they just one-shot those battleships.
I don't use any shortcut keys.
You're a faster clicker than I.
This is probably true.
One of the few times where being faster is something to be proud of.
Well, I'm faster than other things, just not. 1, 2, 3. Oh, sorry. So how much ISK do you actually have?
Oh, not a whole lot of liquid ISK. It's just pretty easy for me to get it. But I've got a couple of Titans, a couple of Supers, and plenty of all sorts of other stuff.
Yeah, set rich.
Well, I'm not rich like Kill a Bee type rich.
Yeah, how much ISK does that fucker have?
Yeah, he's got tons. Well, consider he's got Vanquisher, right? That's what, 500 bill?
Yeah, he also won quite a few event ships, and he sold us for like 300 billion, 400 billion.
Get him. Yeah, I have to be careful with the micro warp drive on the light fighters because of that cooldown. They have to get all the way across this map right now.
It's one of the reasons why I do not hit the stations in sanctums.
Yeah, I hit him just because nobody else does, and it gets rid of him.
You'd find that you get. It's better to not touch them.
just in terms of ISK ticks.
Ticks as well as people bookmark the stations and ignore them. So it's just consistent.
Go. Yeah, I do the station ones anyway. Just clear them out. It's probably not the most efficient, but my goal is to have fun as well as have some ISK coming in. If nobody ever takes them, that means they're always available for me. Okay, that was the last one. Check my alignment. Oh, that one's way off. It's way off. Okay, I'll just go to this one. So I warp in at 50. One of the nasty things about the station sanctums is that if you take a look, there's all sorts of asteroids and large collidable objects, and if you warp in at the wrong range, you can end up trapped inside these little areas. It can be a bit intense trying to get out of those. That's where the micro warp drive comes in handy. Okay, so before I land, I'm going to retrieve my, recall the fighters again. And let's see if they actually behave this time. Notice how I had to re-click them all? That's to reset that, reset their squatting. Okay, so set my alignment, NSA on. That's another weird thing. Sometimes turning on the NSA via hotkey doesn't work. Okay, so they are responding to the squad command, so that's good. Okay.
I don't think I ever saw you online, Taco. I don't think online in I listen to you.
Yeah, my time zone's kind of weird. I'm GMT minus 10. And I haven't really been able to play a whole lot this past couple of weeks anyway.
School or work?
Both, actually. I have a full-time job. I've also, I run a small business, and I'm going to school part-time. I've also got, you know, a full-blown family, wife, kids, and all the rest of that sort of stuff. It can be difficult to find time to play.
Good on you, man. Having a self-employed as well, you know?
Only part-time, but still it's fun.
What do you do?
Systems engineering, computer stuff.
Fair enough. Is that what you're studying to do?
No, I'm actually studying accounting because I'm trying to get out, trying to do something more business-oriented.
Right.
So yeah, studying for a business degree. I've already got all the technical stuff on lock,
once you graduate, you'll be sorted. Then you go joining a private company, or you're just gonna stick to your own.
Well, that's kind of dependent upon what options come my way.
Yeah.
Like right now, my main gig is for a quite large company on the mainland United States. And they let me work from home here in Hawaii. So that's pretty clever, pretty good.
It's not bad. You're doing PCA boards and PCB boards and stuff like that, is it?
No, more like networking, servers, firewalls, that sort of stuff. Yeah, I've been doing it for quite a long time, so I'm pretty good at it.
Yeah, I'm in IT as well.
Nice. What specifically?
Exchange and Skype for Business.
So Microsoft certifications and all that?
Pretty much, mate.
Nice.
Microsoft.
Yeah, that's kind of where I am as well, but more from an Active Directory standpoint.
I've also done Cisco UC stuff, and worked as a sort of a telephone engineer for quite a long time now. So my job is to just go into big companies and give them telephone systems now, really, in the Microsoft space.
Nice, like Skype for Business, Teams type stuff, or actual phone systems, IP phones?
No. Well, you got Microsoft Teams now from Office 365.
Right.
And also Skype for Business on-prem.
Sweet. So you go in as a consultant, or do you come in as a contractor type thing?
No, I go in as a consultant.
That's how.
Much how, mate.
Mm-hmm.
Learn this sooner.
Right.
That you work as an engineer for 2 years and then go into consulting space, and I go, wow, the difference. But the hours are not friendly to you.
No, but you get dank ticks in real life, though.
I do, but it's costly in living in Australia.
Ah, you're in Aussie land, huh?
Yeah.
Oh.
I earn big bucks. Man, it's still fucking expensive.
Yeah, I know the struggle, mate. Hawaii's a pretty expensive place to live.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Highest cost of living in the nation, in the entire United States, and one of the lowest average incomes as well. So it's a catch-22. Okay, reset my squad of long-range guys. That actually worked last time.
Is it because Hawaii is become such a touristy place?
Yeah, that's part of it. There's something called gentrification, where a whole bunch of rich people from elsewhere come to Hawaii to buy places, and it makes things more expensive over here for everybody else. It is annoying. Go fighters, go fighters. Okay, so that seems to be working, except for not. Yeah, one of my long-range fighters just missed its shot.
Yeah, I see it. And the havens are the same. You know, they fucking go for your drones.
Shoot. Yeah, I'm not so worried about that. It's just the timing is so persnickety with the super. Things just die so quickly. You have to retarget.
Neat.
I mean, I guess there's worse problems to have than everything dying super quick, right?
You could be tackled right now.
Yep.
Thanks.
That wouldn't be the first time. Actually, now that I think about it, I've never lost a super.
Is that cause you haven't solo PvP with Super? Or...
Yeah, pretty much. But I do kind of dumb things like this. Like I've got eyes, one jump out, and that's pretty much it. There's a wormhole right there as well.
G96?
Yeah.
Wormhole to where?
It's a C5, I think.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Line, they're not going to catch you, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's almost impossible to catch me. But I say that, and one of these days somebody's going to do it, and I'm going to lose the ship. I'm not going to worry about it.
The thing is, a frigate can't bump you. You gotta worry about sabers. Unless that frigate is fitted with a small Higgs anchor, then he will bump you.
Oh, really? Well, that's interesting.
The mass increases tenfold.
That plus the micro warp drive, which adds 150%, right?
That's right. He doesn't need to go fast, right? But you see, in a hell, they always send a frigate up ahead, but they still catch supers.
Yeah, supers die every day. And I'm sure plenty of them are like me, like, yeah, they're not going to catch me.
No, most of them are outlined.
Really? Well, that seems irrational. Yeah, that seems irrational.
Yep. You know, they don't. Some don't. Some are new, very new super pilots, right? They don't understand the mechanics of.
Yeah, fair enough.
But if you look at the kill lost mails or the kill bot, you go and check the pilot's details, you'd find they haven't been playing that long. Or it's a brand new character that was bought or ISK injected, you know?
Mm-hmm. Wow, that battleship survived my first volley.
You use your heavy missiles, your light fighters?
Rarely. Just to clear off some of the light stuff, like some of the destroyers. Heavy missile volley will one-shot them, so it serves to help clear off.
You got more streamers now, look, figure 4.
Woohoo! Hey, welcome. Yeah, so you can see I just flung a heavy missile battery and guns against that one. And pewed.
The way you called it, I'm streaming some Star Citizen.
Yeah, it didn't last long. I was streaming Star Citizen and then the game crashed on me.
Is Star Citizen any good?
It's pretty broken right now. My hope is it will be good at some point.
Why is it the game's unstable?
Yeah, very. Yeah, very. Oh, nice. That one's fairly well aligned. Yeah, the game is, there's not a whole lot to do in it right now. The 3.0 update opened up quite a bit, but there's still really a very limited amount of things that you can do in the game. There's some types of missions you can run. You can gather resources from stores and sell them in other locations, but you're not actually mining yourself. And so many of the things are super buggy. Okay, just recalled him.
What did the Star Citizen said about that then?
Well, most recently they disabled some of the missions.
To see if that'll fix the problem.
Yeah, some of the NPCs responded so poorly. Sorry, I had to click stuff. some of the NPCs were responding so poorly that they had to actually disable the NPCs entirely, and so you could bypass them in order to complete the mission.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty broken.
Oh, wow. I'll be right back.
Hey, hi guys. So I'm just ratting in my super right now, running some sanctums, trying to get some ISK. It's really more for fun than anything else, just doing something different. With the super, the long-range fighters are really very, very powerful. You can one-shot, like here, I'll show you this this guy right here, Pith Massacre. With the long-range fighters, single volley with 3 of them, and it blows it up. So done right, you can pull 100 mil ticks, or even more. Right now, we have.
In your streaming, do you not add music?
I do. Can you not hear it?
No, I got it myself muted. Sorry.
Yeah, it should be playing.
What's that guy that streams and takes fleets out?
Oh, quite a few. Killer Bee does it sometimes.
I mean, these guys make money from this, right?
Yeah. There's streamers that are partners, and so they get ad revenue. They get promotional consideration from vendors. They can get subscriptions from within Twitch. Yeah, there's people that make money at this. I don't know if there's any Eve streamers that actually make money at it. There's plenty of guys that do it, but I don't know. They may just do it for fun like me.
I mean, Twitch is not just Eve, right?
Correct, yeah. The ones that that actually get the most, believe it or not, they're mobile streamers. Those guys make bank.
How? What do you mean, mobile streamers?
People that stream mobile games or mobile things from Android, iPhone.
Really?
Yeah. That's fairly difficult to do. So when they can show something, there's not a whole lot of others doing it. And if it's a popular game, yeah, they get a lot of audience. Hey, Nedimo. No. What I do is I sick the light fighters just with their guns on the lighter things. For the battleships, I pretty much only use the long-range bombers. The long-range bombers can one-shot like that. So it is unnecessary to use the heavy missile batteries on them. And for the long-range bombers, using the bomb capability out of those is actually a negative thing, because that can actually destroy your own fighters. The close-range ones have to get in close. So your bomb from your long-range fighters can destroy them or damage them. Yeah, sorry, just answering your question in chat.
No, so another guy asked you another one.
Yeah, carriers are a good place to start, mate. Same basic pattern. It's just with the supercarrier, things die quite a bit more quickly. You'll find with a carrier, you've got 3 tubes of light fighters that you can use, and those are pretty effective, but they still have travel time. With the supers, you get long-range fighter bombers that open up. Those things have quite a bit more range. If you take a look at the stats on them, here I'll show you. You'll see that their range is approximately 100-something kilometers. Let's see, there's quite a bit of those things left. Orbit range is 36 kilometers, maximum targeting range 100 kilometers. You can see they're quite effective from that range. There's another. So I do find myself using the heavy missile batteries off of the light fighters, but I do that more to clean up the smaller stuff. Not the frigates, because they don't apply very well to the frigates. Meaning the damage.
Sorry,
that
but
they
did
do.
you say something?
Yeah, it's just me talking to the stream.
I was away from my desk.
Yeah, no problem. No.
What happened?
I just misclicked something, that's all. One of the light fighters started shooting at a battleship when I didn't want him to. He should have been going for the frigates. Yeah, that's exactly it, Nedimal. Once this anomaly is done, I'll show you the way I do it. It's a pretty common thing. It's not like it's a secret or anything like that. So I'm not, giving up anything that is unknown information or anything like that. But when you're doing this with a supercarrier, it's better to just warp away and then recall your fighters as you approach the next site that you're going to do, the next anomaly. Okay, so that one's done. Notice how I'm not recalling the fighters. They're still just kind of chilling there. I'm picking my next location, something that's hopefully close to my alignment, which I'm not seeing it so far. Okay, that's about as good as it's going to get. You'll see that I initiated warp at 50, but my fighters are still back there. So there's still some wonkiness to the way the game handles recalling fighters and then making use of them. So you'll see as I'm warping away, I reset my squad. So when I hit my hotkey F1, that actuates all of my long-range fighter bombers. So I do that mid-warp. Seems to work best. It's quite buggy otherwise. And you'll see as I come out of warp to the next anomaly that as I get close to it, I'm recalling them now. So I just now hit my recall. And I'm fairly close to those asteroids. That's no fun. I'm mashing my NSA key. Okay, the NSA hotkey is not working, so let's try this again. Okay. There's my alignment. Okay, my alignment's back there. Good. Shoot. Hit him. Okay, so you can see that I was able to actually catch my fighters before they jumped back into my fighter bay. So that actually worked out. Sometimes what happens is you recall the fighters, and either the hotkey doesn't do its thing, or the Bob does not smile upon you, and they land inside your fighter bay after all, and then you have to wait for them to reload, and it adversely affects your ticks. And one of the basic ideas of ratting into supers is you want as big ticks as possible, right? But yeah, you see that I did not recall them to reload them. I'm not waiting for them to reload. I'm not having to deal with any of that. I very rarely have to use the heavy missile batteries, so I can go for an hour plus without a reload. Also, another thing that you may notice, I'm not doing any sort of salvaging. If I put effort into it, I'm sure I could get quite a bit more out of the salvage as well. But from an straight ISK perspective and maximizing the value of the ticks that you get, it's better to just leave all this stuff and warp away. If you've got corp mates that are fairly new to the game and could use some money, then that can be a way to get them some money. There can be quite a bit left behind in salvage. Yeah, you see further away that time, so it took 2 cycles of the long-range fighters. Yeah, exactly, Nedimal. It can be worthwhile. Kind of depends on what your goals are. If you like industrial stuff, if you like building things, then grabbing all the loot that comes out of these guys can be worthwhile. Yeah, you see how much further away those, or how much closer those things spawned? But I'm not doing any of the industrial stuff right now, so I don't bother with the salvage. Haha, yeah. The problem, Nedimal, is that the long-range fighters actually, they take a little bit to kill off those dreads. It's still much quicker than a regular carrier, but it's much slower than the close-range heavy bombers. Close-range heavy bombers are absolute brutality on capitals. Like if you find one in a belt or something like that, you can warp in with your heavy fighter bombers and make them rue the day. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, with the carrier trying to kill off the dreadnought that can sometimes spawn from these anomalies can be a challenge. Even with a highly skilled carrier, can take a couple of reloads of your fighter bombers, of your fighters. Sorry. With the super, it's fairly straightforward. I'm finding it tough to actually give you guys things to look at, because I end up killing them so quickly. Light fighters go after the smaller stuff first, and only after they've engaged the smaller stuff do I send them after the bigger things. Yes, please. Okay, and I'll use volley on this other one. Okay, see, that didn't even get through his entire shields, but it softened him up for the blasters. Next. Woohoo! My wife just brought me some tea. Thank you. Where are those guys? Oh yeah. See that spread, that distance? That's one of the reasons why folks don't like these, this particular type of sanctum. And you can also see that they're starting to shoot at one of my dudes. Gonna clear off the destroyers, because those are the ones that are going to do the most damage to my my fighters. Okay, that was somewhat annoying. They went after nothing but my fighters. Yeah, exactly, Netimal. The escalations out of these are the maze, and the cool part about those escalations is they're unscannable. Obviously, if you're sitting inside one, you as a ship can be scanned down, but nobody else can see that particular instance of the maze unless you're in it, or unless you give them the bookmark. So it's definitely a good moneymaker. Yeah, I feel your pain on the allergies, man. I know what it's like. Bada boom, bada bing. Okay, next. No dread that time, unfortunately. Yeah, well, there's a lot of things that fighters could do better than they do. Earlier today, I had to take off sort of quickly, and I neglected to bring my my fighters back in. And these things are supposed to be piloted ships, right? They're supposed to be there's supposed to be a member of your crew in there flying those things around. But when you log off and log back in, your fighters are just sitting there as if they were, you know, inanimate entities. So you have to scan them down with combat probes and then fly out to them and regather them. You can't even reconnect to lost drones in that case. It's kind of frustrating. Okay, so here we are again. I'm coming out of warp. So I'm retrieving my, or recalling my drones now. Resetting my squad. Angling off. Activating my SMA, trying to, no, hotkey not working again. Okay, yay, I got them all. Are you up in the north too, Edible? The Garista's 10 of 10s are almost 10 of 10 on easy mode. Have you ever tried running one of the Blood Raiders ones? The newts in there are pretty brutal. Newts as in energy neutralizers. The pressure is just astonishing. In the past, you used to be able to use a passive tanked shield shield ship of some sort. Like I used to use a broadsword for it. Passive tanked broadsword could handle all of the incoming damage, but if you remember a couple of years ago, they changed off the way aggro works in anomalies and complexes, and they'll now switch. So your little target ship that's supposed to be sapping up all the damage ends up not being shot at all, and your main DPS ship takes it up the pipe. Yeah, there you go. That must take a while to kill that station at the end, though, right? I've never tried doing it that way. I always bring a marauder or something else. I always figure overkill is just enough. Oh wow. Yeah, as long as you know which gates to take, right? Okay, just now activated the long-range fighter bombers. Kaboom, one shot. It almost feels unfair. Come on, give me the dread. I'm gonna have to bolt in a bit. So I'll finish this one off. Hopefully the dread spawns. I'd like to show you the way that works with the long-range fighter bombers. It's not as impressive as I would like, but if you don't mind, give me a follow. I'm trying to build my following a little bit. I don't have a set schedule. I just mention on Twitter when I'm gonna do something that I'm gonna stream, and then I jump in and do it. So I enjoy the game, and if you enjoy what I was doing as well, then come along with me for the ride, okay? So give me a follow if you don't mind. Okay, I am gonna. This is so watch this. So full speed aligned. If a newt does come in, I just run away, and it's immediate warp off to my safe pos. Also note that I haven't recalled my fighters yet, so it works much the same way as a regular carrier. If you recall them at the wrong time, they can end up 1,000 kilometers off, and that's painful. Oh, sweet. Thanks, man. Yeah, some alliances are more open to it than others. My main is Gurn, and he's in Burning Napalm in Northern Coalition. And in that corporation, it's pretty much all PvP all the time. We don't, I mean, obviously we have ratters and such like that, but we tend to keep them in other alliances or other corporations to do so. It just helps keep our PvP efforts separate and away from those complications. Don't show up in our PvP life, right? There's no questions about, you know, oh, he stole my rat or anything like that. I used to be a director for Insurgency Alliance, and so that was far too much of the time that I put into the game was helping to resolve conflicts. It was a challenge, mate. It was a challenge. But what you can do is consider joining an alliance that does support it with just a ratting character if you can. Like, I'm fortunate. I have quite a few accounts, so I'm able to keep a character, actually several characters out here. I've got others that are out in other systems to provide eyes right now. But if you can afford doing something like that, then you can get out there and do all sorts of crazy stuff. But to be honest, I do this stuff to support the PvP aspects of the game. So enjoy what you have, you know. Oh, I know a couple people over there. Nice. Yeah, Slice is good people. But I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream and log off. So I want to say thank you again for coming by and hanging out with me. And if you have any questions in the game, feel free to reach out to me. In game, my name is Gyrn, Gyrn, and last name is Zerth. Well, you can see it right there. It's on the Twitch stream. But yeah, feel free to reach out, say hi, or ask me any questions. Hope to see you in space, man. Thanks again. Aloha.